happening? Welcome to the pre-match build-up, Manchester United versus Brentford, and the adverts are playing through. Thank you very much for that. Why is something always fucking the lineups are out, and there is big, significant changes. We actually have, believe it or not, Leicester's pairing centre-backs from 5 years ago starting today in Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire. So big changes to the back line, but I'll just run through the 11, and then as always, Shreyas, we will go through it together.
Yeah.
Andre Onana starts in net. He's not been dropped with the mistakes he's been making recently, so Ten Hag sticks with him. We've got Lindelof at right back, Maguire and Evans at centre back, Diego Dalot at left back, we think. Then we have Casemiro, Amrabat, and Mason Mount in the midfield, which sounds like a good midfield, promising. And then Bruno, Højlund, and Rashford. So many kind of angles to pick at this from, Shreyas. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the midfield? Do you want to start with the defence? I'll let you take free roam here. Where do you want to go with it in terms of the individual selections?
I think the obvious starting point has to be the defence.
Yes.
There are only two aspects to this, with the defensive line that he's gone with. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it will be horrible. You've got Maguire and Evans, so I think people need to understand that you won't be seeing United playing a high line today. If we play a high line today, we'll be killed off. We'll concede like 4 or 5 goals. I think we'll be playing much more compact. We'll be playing deep. You will be seeing Dalot as well as Lindelof actually tucked in a lot. Because you can't have players like Mbeumo or Wies given the space to exploit, and with the pace they have to just run at Johnny Evans or Harry Maguire. So I think it will be a very constricted backline. Casemiro and Amrabat will be the workhorses in this field. I think our game depends on Casemiro and Amrabat. If Casemiro and Amrabat click, if they are able to track their runners, if they are able to solidify that defensive line, provide them with the adequate shielding, I think we'll be good. If they are not able to click, like it's a situation where they still have to adapt, they still have to, get used to each other, I think it will be a very, 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 bad game for our defensive line. Moving forward, though, I think there is still, I would say, a lot more promise in that attacking line in Rashford, Højlund, and Bruno. Højlund, I think, is in a hot streak right now. Was by far one of our better players against Galatasaray, and perhaps opens his account in the Premier League as well today. Mason Mount has been showing up for the past few fixtures. I think since he's come back, he's been showing up in every single one of those games, and perhaps playing in that number 10 role, a role that is much more natural to him. Maybe he's able to open up even more, because I think throughout, if you have to say the most unlucky player in this United team, it has to be Mason Mount. Like every shot he takes, somehow it gets deflected, somehow it gets blocked. People are not able to capitalize when he makes interceptions or makes ball recoveries. And I think Rashford and Bruno, I think Rashford needs to play. As much as I want Ten Hag to bench him, I know that to get the best out of Rashford, it would be to actually, get him minutes. Maybe take him off at the 50th minute mark. Maybe take him off during the halfway point. But you still need to play Rashford. Bruno, I think he's the captain of the team, so you have to pick him right now. And I was actually surprised seeing Bruno being played on the right, because I thought maybe Anthony makes his return in this game on that right wing slot. I thought maybe Ten Hag, slots him back into the team.
I think there's going to be fluidity across the pitch, isn't there? Like you could literally see probably Lindelof dropping into midfield, Amrabat going into left back if needs be. There's a lot of rotation. You see Mount going out into the wing, Bruno dropping into the midfield. I just think regardless of whatever it is you're doing, wherever you put Amrabat, you're taking away from somewhere slightly.
Yeah.
If you put Amrabat into the midfield, which a lot of people was calling for, but like we said, we remember Lindelof's performance against Atletico Madrid in the Champions, and it was fucking abysmal. It was shit. So I'm hoping that he doesn't put in a performance like that, because I'm looking at Brentford's team. Excuse me. They've got Strakosha in net, so a new debut for the goalkeeper. They've not gone with the usual one. They've got Roslev, Ayer, Pinnock, Collins, Hickey, Norgard, Janel, Jensen, Mbeumo, and Visser. And it's the last two in it really that you've only got to be kind of worried about. No disrespect to the rest of the players, but they're the two guys. If you're chopping and changing about in midfield, of course, no Rafael Varane today because he's got a minor issue. Maguire and Evans coming back in there. Lindelof at right back. It's a bit of a sluggish defence, that, innit? That's the one thing I'm worried about, the pace.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the biggest. That's the I would say only flaw in this team. the inability to track back, especially when you come up against wingers like Mbuemo and players like Visa who have got ample of pace, and they actually play on the counter attack. Like Brentford's whole game is counter attack, and if they come up against the likes of Maguire and Evans, it is actually a game where they would be picked as favorites to score. The thing is, Varane being out makes this centre back pairing a fourth and fifth choice centre back partnership. Like you don't even have the likes of Lindelof playing in centre back. He's been shifted to the full back position.
I think we've got a record, in terms of how many players we've already used this season. I think it's with Sheffield United, 25 players we've used this season so far, which is goes to show how many injuries and how much rotation we've actually had in that team. And like we said, when you don't have rotation, there's no consistency. You can't get that chemistry, then patterns flowing. But I'm just hoping with Amrabat and Casemiro both kind of together, you can get that kind of strong double pivot partnership where you don't have to worry necessarily too much because they will.
Exactly my point. If they're able to, solidify their line, if the way I see Casemiro and Amrabat playing together, if they play that way, I don't think that we'll have that many issues. The only issue we might have is just that, what kind of a setup are we playing today? Are we playing a high line? Are we not playing a high line? Are we playing much more compact? Are we going to, maintain a defensive line? Look to just balance the game out and, make use of the certain opportunities we create? Are we relying on a Johnny Evans through ball over the top to Rasmus Højlund or Bruno?
Probably. Yeah. If I'm in Bernal and Visso looking at that back line today,
exactly my point.
I'm getting joy out of that. I know I'm going to get an opportunity today, and they will. 100%. I would be absolutely stunned if there isn't, a good few clear chances that Brentford make today, just looking at our back line. And it sounds negative, and you can say whatever, but that does not fill me with confidence. And the back line haven't been confident in general, have they? At all, whoever it's been. So
maybe that is the area Ten Hag wants to exploit. Maybe it is, he knows that their wingers are looking at that line. He knows that their wingers would be we'll just run at them. All we have to do is run at them. Maybe because Casemiro and Amrabat are not, those sort of defensive midfielders who just know how to make tackles or, who just know how to make ball recoveries and don't know what to do with the ball. Both of them are very good progressors with the ball. Both have ample of talent when it comes to driving the ball forward, connect with the attack, allow players like Mount to actually play their game and not having to track back as much, because both of them are very smart CDMs. And if Casemiro gets in the right spot as well, you don't need Højlund to score goals. If you get Casemiro in the right areas, and even he can score goals for you. Exactly, So it can work, I think, especially against this sort of a lineup, because I don't see, if you look at it midfield versus midfield, I think we have a better midfield playing today.
Yeah, sure.
It's okay.
Yeah.
If this would have been the same lineup which would have played against a Tottenham, then I would have said that their midfield has the capability to match our midfield. That's why there can be issues. But if this midfield is able to dominate, if Casemiro and Amrabat are able to maintain their own, just maintain the tempo of the game, Bruno is able to maintain his tempo on that right hand side, or whether it's Mount on that right hand side, whoever is on that right hand side, maintain the tempo of the game. The thing is, I actually would want Bruno to play on the right hand side because of his work rate. I think he needs to be on the right so that Lindelof has that sort of defensive support as well. He needs someone who can track back. If you're playing Lindelof on that right hand side, you need the winger to have that work rate so that players just don't run at Lindelof. You don't want Lindelof to get exploited physically. So I think Bruno needs to play on that right wing position, even if he doesn't have his best game. We all know that at least Bruno is that player who will put the work in. He'll put that defensive shift in as well. So I think that's what Ten Hag is going for today, and most of it relies on this midfield. I would genuinely think the best chance that we have of winning this game, it depends on the midfield and it depends on the wingers. If they turn up, we can actually win this game. If they don't, we'll have a very hard game to go.
We cannot afford to fucking lose this game. Cannot afford to lose. We're desperate for 3 points. I mean, Tottenham are down to 10 men. Last time I checked, they was fucking winning. So teams all around us are just constantly getting points. We've got other teams.
And quite consistently.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to drop off rapidly if we don't start picking up points. Let's see what everybody else thinks. Make sure you do leave a like on the video for us if you can. I'll read out a couple of comments now. Brian saying, I'll be honest, I had us winning 3-0, but now I've seen the team, I think we'll struggle to draw. Lewis is saying, lineup's hilarious, we're finished. Positive though that we get to see Amrabat in the midfield. I mean, that's one of them. Shahzam saying Varane injured again. I mean, this guy picks obviously not his fault. I'm not blaming him for it, but his body is definitely breaking down in it. Varane, like it's getting to a point. Even you look at injuries we've had or absences: Anthony, Sancho, Kobe Mainu, Mason Mount, Lisandro, Rafael Varane, Serge Reguilon, Luke Shaw,
Aaron Wan-Bissaka,
Malacio, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and a couple of keepers as well who have been injured. And then a few of our signings coming injured as well. Like the injuries this season has just been proper. But we have been riddled with him really, really bad. And we suppose we had a new kind of medical team and doctor who've just made things worse. So, yeah, strange one. Lewis saying Gashford, Mount, Bruno, and Onana are poop. Brian saying if Amrabat and Casemiro click like we think they will, it won't matter what defence we have, the ball will never get there.
That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah. And Chivy says Maguire would never have a better time to redeem himself. Fingers crossed for him. Well, that's it. You can only get behind him, can't you? Obviously,
exactly. I want him to have a good game. Because if he doesn't have a good game, we will suffer.
Yeah. And in fairness to Johnny Evans, the last time he played, he was decent against Burnley.
Man of the match.
Like, yeah, but he was. If you don't do that, we don't win the fucking game. Do you know what I mean? So it's just them two together where I'm kind of looking at it. Like, if you've got, with all due respect, if you've got one donkey in the team and you've got a bit of a horse next to a stallion next to him, like a Varane or whatever, you're okay. You could probably manage. When you've got two donkeys doing it in the back line, that's when it starts getting a little bit sticky. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just hoping they can put in a really good performance today. Dan saying consent Maguire or Evans header goal today, but not sure which side. Yeah, so yeah, nervous. What about the attack? We've got Bruno, Højlund, Rashford. The service for Højlund needs to be better, doesn't it? If you supply this kid, he's going to score goals.
Bruno needs to cross the ball in, and Rashford just be confident about his decisions. If he's going, even if he's going for a cutback, just be confident about the cutback, because it's not that he hasn't got it in his locker. He has got it in his locker. Like, he is that sort of player who can actually score from 30 miles out. You know, he has that ability. He's a very gifted footballer, one of our better players in this team. Supposedly, I would say the leader of that attack, even though he's so young. So there's a lot of responsibility on him, no doubt about it. But I think he just needs to, be confident with his decisions. Even if he's going to be selfish and taking a shot, be confident with your shots, because you never know. Your shots have the ability to actually, go into the back of the net. And one big thing is, don't let Bruno take set pieces. Either let Mount or either let Eriksen or
either hits
someone
the
else.
fucking wall or it goes over. It never hits the man ever.
The set piece that Mount has taken, it resulted in a goal.
Yeah, who scored? Was it
Casemiro? Casemiro header.
Yeah, Casemiro. Yeah. Whenever Bruno takes him, I don't even get excited, because I just think it's going to hit the wall, or it's just
exactly my point.
The man, and they'll clear it out. He's terrible at set pieces. Like really bad.
And if I'm being honest with you, last season he wasn't. Like last season, Eriksen and Bruno were very, very good at set pieces, and I think Bruno actually created a lot of chances through set pieces last season. This season, I don't know what's been happening with him.
No, it's a strange one, isn't it? I'm looking at the subs bench here, Shreyas. We've got Bayinde, Martial, Christian Eriksen, Garnacho, Anthony, Pellistri, Van der Beek, McTominay, and Hannibal, which it's not a bad bench, is it? Like, there is quite a few options there. Who would you look to if this game gets a little bit tight? You need a goal. Who would you look to bring on off that bench?
Garnacho. I think Garnacho. If I'm saying someone proven enough, who has been getting us a lot of clutch goals and, actually creating a lot of opportunities, coming on and, actually getting us a win, Garnacho has been doing that. Anthony will be coming on at some point or the other. Anthony will be brought on and whether it will be Mount. I think it will be Mount who will be taken off during the course of the game. I don't think Bruno gets taken off. I think Bruno plays the full 90 either way. Yeah. So Anthony will come on. Maybe Pellistri has an opportunity. Maybe Donny has an opportunity. You never know. But I don't think McTominay comes on in this game. If you bring McTominay on in this game, it's done. It's over.
Well, I don't know if you're placing the Cosmos in the chat, but he certainly wasn't happy about that last time when Donny got brought on for like the last 6 minutes or whatever it was. He was absolutely fuming. But I think they're not bad options to have off the bench. You know, Martial's, the occasional time this season when he has come
on. He's been good as a 30-minute player. He has been good. He has been actually, creating a lot of trouble on the wing as well when he got brought on. Is able to link up quite well with the attack. Maybe Martial can be brought on and he can do something. I think it was a Gala game where as well, I think it was Martial who got a very good opportunity, tried to curl the ball in, and the keeper was able to save it.
Like players like playing with him in it. Like, when he comes on, like he actually develops patterns of play with him, which is nice to see.
He reminds me a lot of Juan Mata. Like, when Mata used to came on to the field, he was just able to bring all the players together.
Yeah,
that's what Martial is doing in this team right now.
To be fair, he's probably got the same pace of him in a minute as well, because of the amount of injuries that he's had. He just doesn't look like he can run full sprint anymore without kind of.
And we can't really blame him for the injuries either.
Oh, no, exactly. That's what I mean. I've just seen a thing, by the way, on injuries on Varane, where he's missed his 35th game today for Manchester United. That's due to injuries. Such a shame because he's such a leader in that back line, and when his presence is missing, it's so obvious. But this is why we needed a centre back. When we were speaking about Kim Min-jae and these kind of guys, it's why we need it. Because
in a way, I can actually say both our starting centre backs have been quite injury prone since they've come in at United.
Yeah, well, we are missing our full senior back line, our starting back line. No Shaw, no Wan-Bissaka, no Lisandro, no Varane. Our full back line has gone. So you can expect some worries today.
This is the reason why Ten Hag wanted Kim Min-jae as a priority signing.
Yeah.
And when he didn't get him, he wanted Benjamin Pavard or he wanted John Clare Todibo. He wanted someone at least to be brought in because this is the sort of situation he wanted to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. Ten Hag has been speaking in his programme notes. He said, this has been a very difficult period for us all. Without question, we are currently far from the levels and expectations we set for ourselves going into the new season, and none of us will attempt to hide from that fact. And these kind of match facts that have got to back that up. Well, in fairness, against Brentford specifically, we've won 4 and lost 1 in the last 5 games, which surprised me a little bit because I thought it might be a little bit worse than that. So that kind of fills me a little bit more with confidence. However, when you look at the goals conceded, United have conceded 11.
And they've conceded 10.
Conceded 10. Brentford have scored 10 goals and United have scored 7. Yeah, so equally, we're not even scoring more than Brentford and we're conceding more goals, which shows you what a fucking shambles of a start it's been. What do we need to change from Tuesday night to get a result today?
Link the defense and the midfield. I'm not worried about the attack. I think if you look into this attack as well, there's a lot of promise. I know Rashford will come good. I know Højlund will come good. I think Rashford showed a lot, more positives during Galatasaray. At least he's getting his dribbling right. He showed a lot of confidence while taking Sacha Boey. I think Sacha Boey might have had one of his worst games of the season when he came on against Rashford because he was just ripping him apart, left, right, every single cutback that he was making. He was very precise with them. It just comes down to decision making. If he is able to sort that out, Rashford's output increases exponentially. So I'm not worried about the attack. The only thing I'm worried about is that gap between the defense and the midfield line. I don't want players like Mbeumo or Wisa to have the sort of opportunities that...
Are you going to play a high line?
Exactly my point. Even if you want to play a high line, there needs to be a discipline between the defense and the midfield that, the players are not able to just cut through and just walk through your entire line.
That's hard to portray as when they haven't played together really before.
Exactly. And it's not even your first choice defensive line. It's not your first choice midfield line either. So it is going to be difficult, which is why I think there will be a lot more. I think we won't play a high line. You can't play a high line with Maguire and Evans. You're just asking for trouble if you do that. There will be much more. I think there will be much more, I would say, defensive stability. I think Casemiro and Amrabat will help out a lot. Maybe Amrabat's work rate is that, a lot of us were talking about. We will be able to see that today. And except that, I think just hope Dalot has a good game. Hope Lindelof has that backing of Bruno Fernandes on the right-hand flank. Because if Lindelof is left on his own on that right hand side, there will be a lot of opportunities coming from the Lindelof and Maguire flank. I don't want that happening.
Oh, for all them people who were saying play Lindelof at right back, some of the biggest influencers in this kind of football space, play Lindelof at right back. We'll see how he gets on tonight. I'll hold my hands up after the game if he puts in a really good performance, and I'll say, fair enough, he did his job, absolutely fine. But
I think he can do a job, but I think he can do a job. But the only problem I have with it is that Lindelof hasn't really been in that great form that he was in last season.
No, he's been in poor form. That's why I'm saying it.
Exactly. And for a player who hasn't really been performing that well in his original position, shifting him to a position where he doesn't normally play and hasn't played for a long time, it is a very big gamble which Ten Hag has made today. If it works out, it works out, no doubt. If it works out, it works out. But if it doesn't work out, then it will be a big trouble for us.
Absolutely. Let's focus on Brentford for a second then. They've been in bad form themselves. They've only got 1 win so far this season, 4 draws against Forest, Palace and Bournemouth. And Spurs, in there as well, the 2-2 draw. They're obviously without the star man, Ivan Toney, who's not in the team today, which is why Mberno and Vissa are going to have to kind of step up. They've also, obviously, they're going to need points on the board themselves. It's kind of almost like a mid-table clash, the way both teams' kind of forms are at the moment. They used to set up in like a 5-2-1-2 kind of setting, or like a 5-3-2, whatever it was. Now they set up in more like a 4-3-3. Like you said, that you have that Norgard who sits quite deep. You have the wingers who are quite attacking, but they're missing the key players as well. I think obviously Ivan Toney, like I mentioned, Rico Henry missing from the starting lineup. What are you expecting from them today? What do you think their main threats are going to be?
Of course, the wingers are going to be a main threat. I think Jensen, he has been really solid for them this season. He's looked like a very good midfielder. Maybe he's someone who can trouble us, and while we are absorbing pressure. Once again, Brentford will also use the same. They will use the same strategy as Crystal Palace and Galatasaray. Just hold down for the first 20 minutes. If you don't leak a goal,
Palace though, right? Like the way they was, because Galatasaray was slightly open in that regard, whereas Palace were very compact.
I think going forward against Galatasaray, we were wasteful, but because Højlund was very, just at it that night, we scored the goals. I think it will be a Palace blueprint. Hold down the fort for the first 20 minutes. They'll get frustrated because they haven't scored. They will create opportunities and they won't score. Just hold down the fort. 20 minutes, they get frustrated, go for goal, get the goal. And just park the bus.
As soon as you get that list, lads, get past the 20 minutes. Once you've done that, we've won the game, basically.
Exactly.
That is the game plan against Manchester United. Because for whatever reason, that seems to be the special minute. And then after that, it was like last season when Sancho and Eriksen got to like the 60th minute, it was just like, they're giving up now. They don't really play anymore.
Earlier it used to be an hour. That we used to be a good team for 1 hour. Now it has gone down. The time frame has gone down 20.
Yeah. That's the one. We've got Luman in the chat. Make sure you do leave a like on the video for us and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. He's saying let Amrabat play in the position we got him. I'm happy with that, but whichever way you look at it, you're taken away from a certain area. That's the way I see it. So we'll see how they crack on today. Hopefully,
just get one more fit fullback, and we'll look a lot more better.
I'm happy as well if it's Mount in the 10, because I want to see Amrabat, Casemiro, Mount. That was the midfield that I wanted to see. If Bruno has to ship out onto the right with that's fine. But I want to see that midfield, because I think in terms of energy, the kind of combative nature, the defensive capabilities they have, I think that's a really, really good midfield. And I think we'll dominate that midfield, especially at Old Trafford. So that's promising.
With Mount as well, he's a very good presser of the ball. Like, if I have seen something from him this season, he's very good at pressing. The way he makes his runs off the ball, those late runs in the box, he's been very effective in that job. Has gotten an assist against Palace in the Carabao Cup. Once again, in that attack, if I have to rank players against Galatasaray, first would be Højlund, second would be Mount. Like, Mount was exceptionally good against Galatasaray as well. I want the players to capitalize if he's making those ball recoveries. Like, I've seen him make, interceptions and win the ball back just around the opposition box, and we still aren't able to exploit and, go for goal. If we are able to work on that, I think people will actually, be able to understand why Ten Hag wanted Mount. Because I can still see Mount, and I can say he will be a very important player for us this season. No matter Anthony comes back into the team, no matter who comes back, Mount will be still in and around that first 11. And I know the reason why.
I was going to say, sorry, I think people are starting to realise Mount now and what he can do for this team and how he fits in as that cog. He just needs time to adapt. He needs to play, if he had, let's say, 10 games in a row with Amrabat and Casemiro behind him.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I can see him working fully. That just needs to happen. Chivy's just put a good comment in. He's saying, we're never going to get a full season out of Varane. And the best ability is availability, innit? You can say whatever you want about Maguire and all these guys, but at least they're always available for selection. Varane, you know you're going to get 2-3 weeks out of him, and then he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Even now, even though he's left international football and doesn't play for France anymore, I thought that might take a little bit of weight off him. But he's still getting as many injuries. It's like, that's why.
I think in this window itself, we need to get another centre back. I won't say that sell Varane. That will actually escalate.
No, you
problems.
Don't need to.
Yeah,
if you get rid
that
of
will
Maguire,
escalate problems.
In there, because he can step in every now and then. He can do a job.
Exactly, and
it's 5-time champion.
There is much more downside to actually selling Varane because you need those sort of players in the team. Someone with the experience, someone with the maturity, someone who has those trophies in his locker as well. They know what they have to do and they can help the younger players actually grow into their positions. That's why when we did those youngsters video as well, I said Antonio Silva is someone who can actually just learn of Varane because he is the perfect mold of a player that you would want as a centre-back in Ten Hag's system.
I watched a video on Antonio Silva last night, a tactical video on him, and he looks the part. He looks really, really good.
He's so young as well, like 19 years old.
But plays like he's 28. He looks ahead of his time. He really, really does. Couple of quotes coming out from Eric Ten Hag. He's saying, Varane had a little problem. If there had been 2 or 3 more days between matches, he could have played, but it was too short. So it doesn't seem like it's too significant, just a little knock for Varane. He'll be back at least after the international break. Ten Hag's also saying there are changes of players, but not really from a tactical point of view. We don't have many choices at the back. Evans and Maguire know each other well. They have often played together. They are reliable. Not sure about the last bit of that because we saw them come on against
Arsenal. They have played together, but I don't know about reliable.
Yeah, reliable. Yeah, they definitely played together, but whether they've been reliable or not, I'm not sure. He said, you can do everything well between the two surfaces, but it's at the two ends where everything is at stake. You have to be focused, organised, and help each other. I mean, the issue is now, if we get any more injuries, which it surely isn't possible, but if we do, we're actually...
Don't say it's not possible.
No, I mean, it doesn't... Because of the amount that we've had, you would think, surely not. But the way this season's gone, Maguire pulls up with something, or Evans pulls up with something, you're like, right, what do we do now, lads?
Bruno at centre-back.
That's what I mean. Casemiro into centre back, put Lindelof at left back, and then you're proper tinkering with the team. Then it's just like it's pointless even fucking playing.
There should be a limit to injuries as well at some point.
Yeah, we've got Lumen saying, I also want to see a Hannibal Amrabat partnership in the midfield as we won't have Casemiro in the UCL. I think that's a very good point. I forgot about that because he's obviously suspended for the Copenhagen game, so Amrabat will probably be in there, which is you need to get a run of games in there.
And we're lucky it is against Copenhagen and not Bayern or Gala.
Oh yeah, definitely. Another quote coming out here from the Ten Hag man himself on Rasmus Højlund. He said he needs time, but you can already see his progress. I'm sure our offensive game will become more and more fluid, and other players will have scoring opportunities. And I think we kind of alluded to that before with the bench that we've got. Garnacho, Martial, Pellistri. Any of these guys can come on and have a huge impact.
For the first time in years, we can say that at least on the attacking side of things, we've still got decent firepower on the bench. Yeah,
for sure. And we'd have even more if Sancho pulled his fucking dummy out and stopped being a spoilt kid. We'd have more options.
Just Ahmad comes back and we've got an entire front line on the bench. Ahmad will be back soon.
This is the main reason why I said it would be a high scoring game. Everyone thinks I'm crazy for saying like a 4-2 or a 3-1 or whatever, but I just think because attacking wise, I'm happy. I think Højlund's starting to come into form now. I think Rashford's picking up a little bit. You've got Anthony, Garnacho, Martial who can all get a goal as well. It's the back line, so Brentford are going to score a couple, but I think we'll score quite a few as well.
It's very tough It's very tough to keep a clean sheet with the back line we've got right now. You've got a goalkeeper who isn't really that confident. You've not got the
scoring.
Exactly my point. The only way we can win is outscore Brentford.
Yeah.
Or lose.
Yeah, make sure you all get your score predictions in. By the way, let me know how you're feeling about this game. I already see quite a few people feeling relatively negative. I don't blame you. I really, really don't. Also, let us know your thoughts on the graphic as well. Sam putting in the work behind the scenes. Really, really cool kind of aesthetic looking visuals there for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. Lumen saying, don't worry, we have a universal soldier on the bench, McTominay, who can play everywhere. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much of McTominay, to be honest with you, until January. I think
maybe he plays against Copenhagen.
Maybe, but he doesn't seem to be getting a lot of game time this season, does he? Seems to be like Hannibal's obviously kind of.
He wasn't in the manager's plans this season. That's why Ten Hag wanted him gone. He wanted Maguire gone, and technically, I still remember Ten Hag said, "I need two midfielders in not attacking. I need two midfielders in that defensive line." And I need another centre back in. Didn't get a centre back, got the one midfielder, and that too on loan on deadline day, and didn't get the other midfielder that he wanted.
Well, we got an offer, didn't we, for Scott McTominay? We got, what, 30 million, and we turned it down. We said we got 40 to 45.
Yeah, and
now, at the time, I was like, yes, United being firm on the stance, you know, not being taken for mugs or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm kind of looking at him like, actually, I probably would have fucking taken that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the Maguire one.
You remember there was another rumor actually looming that Bayern want a swap deal between Gravenberch and Scott McTominay.
Oh, yeah. Of course. It's transfer madness, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Whilst we're on the discussion of midfielders, Ten Hag spoken about Mason Mount. He said he's getting better and better from one training session to the next and from one match to the next. I'm sure he will continue to improve, and we are convinced that he will do even more better. I think this is an interesting topic of discussion because, right, once we have everybody fit, who plays in that midfield? Because either Mount or Bruno Fernandes is going to have to get dropped or pushed out onto the wing. And you would think he's not going to do that with Bruno because he's the captain. But then Mason Mount's a brand new shiny signing who's trying to integrate into the team. So how do you manage that? When everybody's fit, let's play a game right now. If everyone was available, what is our strongest team, in your opinion?
I think it will happen in the same way Pep manages the likes of Alvarez, Grealish, Bernardo Silva, and De Bruyne in his team as well. Like 4 world-class players, and they still are able to get enough minutes in the tank. I think the same happens with Bruno Mount as well. Both of them very well equipped. Mount actually has the capability to play all across that attacking line as a left winger, as a right winger, as a 10. Bruno has that in his locker as well. I think both of them will get ample of minutes, but if I have to say like everyone is back on the basis of form right now, I think it will be Casemiro, Amrabat and Mount in midfield the way it is going. Bruno will be shifted onto the right. Bruno won't be dropped. He will be shifted onto the right hand side. If Anthony starts performing as well, that's what I'm saying. Competition for places. This team, they will be chopping and changing. Not that the entire 11 or the core will be changed, but like one or two positions will be changing every single week. It happens with City as well. City don't go with the same lineup for, the same exact lineup 10 games in a row. There is changing. Sometimes Phil Foden comes in. Sometimes Jack Grealish comes in. Sometimes Bernardo Silva comes in. Last season, they even had Mahrez to actually add into that mix. This season, they have Jeremy Doku to add into that mix. So you need depth. Take Mount out of the equation. You're just left with Casemiro, Amrabat, and Bruno. And that's not enough to actually go into the season. You need players like Mount because maybe they don't start, but they will get ample of minutes and they are quality to actually bring on or actually start a certain game number of games as well. And I think the kind of player he is, he will be a starter.
What are your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes on the right-hand side? Because it seems very 50-50. I'd probably say more 70-30, to be honest. I'm not a fan of it myself. I don't think he's the best kind of dribbler to beat a man. Sometimes he can throw him, can't he, with that kind of odd dummy that he does.
Certain flicks that he does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, even before we was questioning his ability, his delivery at times. The reason why you put Bruno out onto the right is to put balls into the box. And I don't think I've seen enough of that.
No, we haven't. And I think it worked one game. In one game, it still worked. I think it was against Leicester last season that it still worked. But apart from that, it hasn't worked at United. Like playing Bruno off the right hand side. If you see it for Portugal, when he plays for right wing, when he plays at the right wing for Portugal, he's world class. The way he's able to ping the crosses in either for Felix, either for Gonzalo Ramos. world class. Like he gets assists left, right, and center every single game. For United, I don't know why, but just doesn't click on the right wing's position. I think Mount can be more natural because Mount has played a majority of the 2 seasons under Tuchel in that right wing spot, and
Last season, really, on
yeah,
that right
and
hand side.
when he was playing at the right wing spot, no other player at Chelsea got more goals and assists than him when he was
Exactly.
playing in
Yeah.
that position. So he is
Double
good enough
figures
to play. Yeah,
both, won it in
exactly.
assist and
So he
goals.
is good enough to play in that role. It's not that Mount isn't good enough. He is good enough. The thing is, we've got Anthony. So you have to accommodate him as well. And it's not that there will never be a situation where I would say that Anthony will be dropped because he is Ten Hag's go-to player.
Started, excuse me, I would have started Anthony today on the right hand side.
Even I would have.
I would have dropped Bruno, and people would have called me crazy for that. But I would. I feel like you're trying to shoehorn him in the team when you put him on the right hand side. Look, he might do a job off the ball. Anthony might not be fit enough to play a full 90, which is fine. But even still, you can't tell me today that when Anthony comes on, Bruno Fernandes is going to come off
exactly
because it won't happen. It won't happen. He'll drag somebody else. I don't know who, but he'll drag someone else off, maybe a Mount or someone like that. Bruno will stay on, and I think he's almost played into the ground. Like, you can afford to give him a rest at the moment. I get he's the captain. He's got to be on the pitch or whatever, but he's not even been performing that well. So I'm not forced. I'd drop him, give Casemiro the armband, and play a game and have Anthony on the right hand side. So
exactly.
yeah.
And I think having Lindelof at right back, I would have gone with Anthony because at least Anthony, he's going to work like a dog on that right wing position.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Let's do some score predictions then. Dan Harrington's already got his in early doors saying 4-4. Bruno's not a winger. He's good on the wing as Mata was. They're both 10s. I think that's, absolutely fair assessment, saying not quick enough and not strong enough. So, Dan Harrington's gone with a crazy 4-4 draw there, Shreyas. What is your prediction? Has it changed? And give me the reasoning behind why you're going with your score prediction.
I don't think that it will be a draw. I think whichever way it goes, it will be a clean win or a clean loss. Like, it won't be a draw.
Okay.
Sam mentioned before the stream that United have a record against Brentford as well. And this
1935 last time.
Yeah. So, and we all know that this team is a record-breaking team. It has been breaking records for the past 3 to 4 years now. So I won't be surprised if any records break today as well. But I'm actually no. I think Brentford might win this game.
Oh, Shreyas used to be so positive, mate.
Yeah, but with no Luke Shaw and no Lissandro, I'm not. I think even if I had Varane in this team, even if Varane was in this team, I would have been much more confident that Varane is there. It's still good. You can still work with it. Evans and Maguire are a very, very dicey gamble.
Yes, absolutely agree with that. Shah Sam's going 4-1 as well. Højlund, Brace, Mount, and Rashford. Still waiting for that Mason Mount first goal, aren't we? I think
he's been very unlucky.
He should have had one in the Champions League. Hannibal got in the way, didn't he?
Yeah, it was going in.
That was definitely going in, so he was fuming with that. But yeah, a lot of high scores today, which I like. I mean, I think that myself. I think there'll be at least 3 goals from either side. Either Brentford will score 3.
Exactly. I think it will be a clean win for either team, whether it's United or Brentford. It will be a clean win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'll stick with my crazy one. I think I said 4-2. And I think who put Højlund, Brace, Mount, Rashford. I probably agree with that as well. Shah Sam, to be honest, but I think Brentford will catch us a couple of times on the counter attack. So it's another 3:00 kickoff, which I'm not a fan of. Not just because specifically it's not on TV, but them games always seem to be like, I don't know, they always seem to be weird and just like it's strange kind of games. So
yeah, I can get it.
Yeah. Connor Crawley. Yeah, you can. That's all right for some. Connor Crawley is saying, why is the game not on TV? Because, as I just explained, 3:00 kickoff. And Connor is saying, I am saying 4-1 Man United. So everyone's going with 4 goals. We at least score 4 at the moment. I don't think there's one different. Yeah, let's hope. Exactly. We can only hope, can't we? What other games have we got? Just before we head off, let me double check the other fixtures.
It was Spurs were still playing Luton Town.
Yeah, they've won. They've won 1-0, so they go top of the league actually. Well, they are top of the league currently.
Chelsea against Burnley, so Burnley win against Chelsea easy.
Oh, you think so? Well, they picked up their first win, didn't they, Burnley?
Yeah, against Fulham.
I'm going to go with a draw in that one. What are you saying, Burnley, Chelsea?
I think even I would go with a draw. I don't
Draw. Yeah.
I think Chelsea are still don't have their enough firepower on that field. I think once maybe
Yeah.
Nkunku comes back, the results starts rolling in much more smoothly. But I still think it will be still a little inconsistent from them. Then you've
Yeah.
got Everton and Bournemouth, which I
Yeah.
think will be a
Tough
draw.
one, that. Bournemouth have struggled, haven't they? They've had a
Yeah.
tough run, in fairness to them, but they have struggled a little. I'd probably go draw in that as well. Probably a 0-0. I'd say Fulham, Sheffield, Fulham 2-0, 2-1.
Yeah, Fulham win it. Fulham win it.
Yeah, Fulham win that.
Palace and Nottingham Forest. I think because Palace won against us last week, they lose today to Forest. They're very inconsistent.
I was gonna say a bit of a bounce. I'll go with a Palace win there. I don't know what score it'll be, but yeah, I'll go with that. So not many shiny fixtures on today. Of course, when United in town, it's always one of them. But the rest of them are pretty shit fixtures. I think the decent ones are tomorrow, aren't there? You've got
Brighton and Liverpool tomorrow. You've got
Very
West Ham and Newcastle.
Another one, decent.
Villa and Wolves, and of course City and Arsenal.
Yeah, and then it's the international break. So we will leave it at that, guys. Good afternoon to Gray as well. Hope you're good, mate. Enjoy the game. Yeah. Crack a Guinness Open, and let's hope we get the dub. Sam's going with a 1-1 prediction. Always positive, as always. Love that, Sam. But yeah, this has been a pre-match build-up. Of course, we will be live after the game. I think me, Sam, and Chive are on to break it down. So let's hope we're breaking down a game where we've actually won and scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, hope so.
With that one, Shreyas, yourself, enjoy the game. Do you have any kind of final words before we head off?
Yeah, 20-minute FC.
Yeah, let's have a good 20 minutes and then we'll freestyle it for the rest of it. And just
or just score a goal in the 90th minute and concede within the next 5.
Yeah, you know the script, Manchester United. Up Johnny Evans and Maguire. Come on. Let's get yeah, we'll see you after the game, guys. Make sure you come and join us and get your thoughts in. We'll be live literally as soon as the game finishes. So we'll see you after. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the weekend. Yeah, see you in a bit.